Okay, so since I'm a glutton for punishment, I am going to pretend like I'm starting out from scratch because we had a couple simple projects coming up. So I am going to build them with the absolute minimal amount of tools, being that, these, and I'm even going back to one of these crappy pencils, and this. Okay? So, oh wait, I gotta remove the workbench too. So let's just get rid of that. Pretend that doesn't exist. That's not there, okay? So here is my lumber that I picked up yesterday. Don't store lumber like this. It's only been like this for half an hour. First things first, I was watching kind of as they were loading it up, and one of the guys telling me he didn't notice that he put this one in there. So rather than complain about it for $4, I figure, well, let's see if we can straighten it out. So I'm going to take it over to the big T-track monster here, in case you guys were wondering where it went, because I used to have this one over there. Wow, that's nice. Oh yeah, try not to mind that mess behind me. We're still obviously in our renovation stage. There you go for all you Canadians out there. All right, let's leave it for a couple days and see what happens. All right, now, I think I need something to work on. What do you think? So I'm going to build some really very simple sawhorses. I'm going to do it in the exact same way, but a little bit different than the most basic ones out there, and show you how to use them properly. To start with, I guess this is where I begin. So to make the I-beams for the top, we're going to make them at 31.5. That way you get the most that you can out of a 8-foot board. All right, so I need something. Thought I forgot how to do all this. I'm gonna be really glad when this table's done. Okay, I'm gonna put a bead of PL Premium on the top of the beam. 3-inch deck screws. Get it, reasonably centered. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna take the screws out of it. So the screws are just working as clamps right now. All right, now we're gonna cut 4 legs at 30 inches. All right, so apparently I have to be a little more professional here. My producer's telling me, so I need an exact measurement here to show you. So what did I end up with? 3 and 15/16. Well, let's just call that 4. Okay, now do it again. Okay, so if you take your time and you measure it nice and evenly, you get everything nice and straight, you have about a 3.4% chance that it's not going to wobble, especially on a shop floor because they're slanted towards the drain usually. So you're going to have a wobble in it. So you pick one side to kind of leave level, which I'm going to use this side, and then you can see this one is not touching the ground until I push it down. So I'm going to cut a little bit off of that leg until I can get it a little more balanced. So in order to cut a little bit off, you're going to have your blade guard locked into place. You gotta wait for it to stop spinning when the blade guard's up. There we go. So just keep taking bites out of it until you get it relatively level. Just keep in mind when you move it to a different part of the shop, it's probably gonna wobble again still. So by no means a precision piece of equipment, but you know, you just don't want it to be too drastic. All right, now get rid of this. And magically our second Sawhorse appears. And this is how we make the cheapest, easiest workbench in the world. So make sure that when you're picking out your boards that you get some nice straight 2x4s. Keep the straightest ones for the top because you don't want to have a wobble in that, which we're pretty rock solid here. All right, so there you go. And then when you need to use the Sawhorses, okay, back to the Sawhorses. Take the screws out of the top now. Take it out of hammer mode. So I don't know why anybody would want to store a big piece of foam to cut into a zillion times over and make a big mess. These are Sawhorses. They are designed to be used and abused, and if necessary, then replaced, as these two cost $20 between the two of them, so it's $10 each. So I'm not worried about putting nicks in them. And if you nick up the top, which is going to take a couple of years too badly, then you just take the screws out and flip it over. That's why we PL'd the other side too. So I'm going to demonstrate how to cut this because we need to cut a board down to 5 inches for our next project. All right, so we need a piece of 5.5 inch of this. So I'm going to mark it there. Okay, I'm going to mark it in the center too, okay? Because I don't have anything longer than 4 feet. It's perfectly straight. Okay, the distance from, see we're unplugged, the difference from the edge of the carbide and the fence is exactly 1.5 inches. So I'm going to run the saw this way across it. So I need to be over 1.5 inches minus the kerf of the blade, which is about 1/10 of an inch. So in order to make this nice and accurate, we're going to start at the 1 inch mark. That way we don't have to worry about the end of the tape measure. So you're going to go over 1.5, and then we're going to minus just a smidge. This is not a precision measurement, so it's okay. Not to mention this is nowhere near a precision pencil. All right, same thing. Okay, so the only thing that I could find that was straight was a big heavy piece of MDF. So, put that down because it's the same width. Making sure we use the factory edge as the fence. All right, so I'm going to adjust the height of our blade now. All right, so we're going to just go through and not much more, okay? Good. my goodness, look at all that damage. Well, these are only going to be around for a couple weeks at the rate we're going. All right, so there's our board there. On a side note, don't store your lumber like this. It's going to twist. I don't have a lot of space right at the moment. So I'm going to use all that this week anyway. Using Sawhorses and a circular saw, you can do an awful lot of stuff. Is it a pain? Oh, absolutely. But it can be done. And it also makes a great miter saw station. You just have to cut some wood the same height as there, which happens to be 3.5 for this one. Does it get much easier than that? I like to take these outside when I have a lot of cutting to do and use that saw and just whip through everything in the driveway because I don't have any dust collection, right? I don't cut near as much stuff in here as it looks like. It's just the camera guy insists upon it.
I have never insisted upon it.
You may be asking yourself, hey Greg, why did you build such a, primitive little wood workstation for yourself when you have 4 other tables, including the big monster T-track one over there? Well, we are going to be starting a series, and this is basically video number 1, starting up a woodworking side hustle from scratch. You have to forgive me the fact I'm in a nice building. So we're still going to do our regular videos, but we're going to start off doing, putting these kind of in between them. And so this is video number 1, and I refuse to start a woodworking business without something to build on. So that's why we're here. And this is the most versatile thing you're going to get, because obviously the Sawhorses make it so you don't need a table saw. Because I'm starting out the simulation with a woodworking budget, I'm guessing about $300. We'll see if that gets altered, but that's what I'm aiming for right now. So what can I buy for $300 to start a woodworking business? Well, guess what? Greg doesn't get a miter saw. In fact, for this purpose here, we're going to say that Greg is a different entity. So we're going to introduce my twin brother, Craig. For all you people out there with names like Kent and Ken and Brett and Brent, you'll know that it's not much of a stretch for me to go by Craig. So when I got the glasses on, I'm Craig. Okay? So poor Craig's got to start over. At least Greg's nice enough to let him use the garage, but he's not allowed to touch any of Greg's tools. So he's got to get his own stuff, and he's got to start out. So the first tool that I'm going to be starting out with is a circular saw and a drill and an impact. We are going to break all this down in the next episode, starting with the $300, and we're going to count it. And then we're going to see how much fun it is to start up a business, because I can tell you from my experience, it's not. And we're going to get through it together, and it's going to be fun. The only thing that I got to go forward with me is the $300 and a lot of experience having just went through it. So I think this is going to be valuable for everybody that wants to do this startup. And if you're not interested in doing it, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to. You're still going to want to watch the videos because we're still going to do the projects. It's just more punishing on poor Craig here because he's got to use the harder tools. And he's got to look at that thing the whole time too. He's not allowed to touch it. Brutal. So anyway, we're going to start off with a nice rock solid foundation. If you don't think this is a great idea, to just check back with Jordan at Guardian Woodworks. So he started out with his miter saw sitting on a plastic table. At least he had a miter saw. All right, so the top of this is just a piece of 7/16 OSB that I had around, or it's 2 feet wide. You can use anything you want, really. Use an old door if you want to save the money. Anything that you can make that, will be nice and flat and stable. I kept it 8 feet, and it makes a really good workbench as far as you got lots of space to do stuff and have your tools on it and everything. Okay, so we're going to break down the budget and the pricing for everything in the next series, but just kind of the Sawhorses were about $20, and the top was about $23 or something like that. And ironically, it's one of the few things in the world we're ever going to have the same pricing in Canada as the US, because our lumber costs, for the most part, are relatively the same. We're also going to put that in the video, too. We're going to put everything in US pricing and Canadian pricing, and we'll see who runs out of money first. Okay, so all the tools that we used in this video, or the equivalent or even upgraded tools, will be linked in the description down below. So be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell notification so you can watch the progress as it happens. And we got a ton of projects to do this summer, so stay tuned for that, and leave us a comment. I want to hear from all you people that have names that sound a lot like other names as to what they are and how many times you've been called. Let's see if we could have some fun with that, because I think I've been called Craig more times than Greg. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, that's Greg's problem. Craig doesn't have to worry about that. All right, so if you haven't watched our mission statement, there's our video right there. And if you want to see another project, then right below it. All right, thanks for watching. See you soon.